All right, we're here, and I do believe we're live. So, welcome to a Masculine Geek Rogue Sunday broadcast. This has to do with the new creation of TJ's, and also Robert is on board as well, which is why he's here. The American Tabletop Gamer Society, the ATGS. And as you can see up here on the screen, I do have the one-page dedication to it. Hey, Tempest, what's up? Always throws me off when people talk about afternoon or morning and it's nighttime for me. I forget that we're international. So, this is the American Tabletop Gamer Society, and this is the single page of information. TJ, you actually led off with writing the beginning to this. Did you want to kick it off at first, or do you want me to keep going?
I think I'll wait and you can keep going. I'll
Okay. So, the too long didn't read version of this, just to whet your appetites, is it's essentially, fundamentally, and not for nothing, a men's club and a old school advanced Dungeons and Dragons convention style, convention style gaming convention tournament play. These old conventions that were alive and well in the 60s and 70s and really into the 80s were small, they were intimate, they were manageable, and to be quite honest, the ones that I went to were fun. Now, I've been to a few larger conventions, and I know Robert has as well.
Mm.
They have their place, but not here. I don't. You get you're basically a number. You get lost in the crowd, and they are a crowd. We're talking anywhere between 75 to 250,000 people over a weekend.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the first Gen Con I think was about 100 people.
Give or take. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really what we're looking for. This will be thanks, Chess. Yeah, this is something that we've talked about, as you know, since before the first of the year. And there's some business things on the back end that I wanted to go over and discuss with certain people before we launched this. Now, it will be limited, and TJ and I were thinking probably 75 to 100 members. This is by invitation only. If we know you, like in the chat, Tempest, Mictobus, Chess, Geeky Anomaly, we've interacted with you. We know you. A subscription payment link would be sent to you. We'd get your information, and then we'd start out and take off. Now, it's not just a gaming convention. As I said very quickly when we first started, it's a men's club. What does that mean? Well, we do other things besides game after the game. There's discussion, there's dinner, there's drinks, cigars,
right.
there's camaraderie. It's an all-encompassing looking for the word to best describe this because it's really so fun. The idea of it is just cool to me, and it's something I've always been wanted to do and never really had the time, money, and motivation to do so. Well, that time is now. So I discussed it with TJ. TJ had the same separate idea himself, and then we brought Robert on. we brought Robert on. So
Yeah, I think what happened was I'm becoming and this is probably a lot of it is from my own personal experience working online and working by myself. So a lot of my life for the last couple of years has been mainly through the internet, and I've just found how it is a useful tool. It's like a lot of things in life. It's been great to meet people from across the country, like Vince, Rob, Aaron, the other Rob,
Yeah.
and other people. At the same time, I remember when I was playing tabletop games as a kid and growing up and all that stuff, and you cannot replicate that online. Where you're sitting down. I was actually just playing a tabletop. I was playing Cthulhu Wars yesterday with a bunch of buddies, and you're sitting in a room together. You're having your meals. Somebody's making snacks. You're just interacting with someone in person, and that gets whatever that dynamic is gets lost through these buffers like the online stuff. And so and also my thought is that the internet is to find people that you want to hang out with in real life. And so this is for, and another thing that I was actually going to say on another live stream that I think that people haven't thought about. If you're, it's kind of an economic thing. If you spend a lot of time in your life cultivating a good personality, you become an interesting person, you're an emotionally mature person, people know that they can count on you to do what you say you're going to do and say and do what you say. They know that you're going to be able to show up on time and that you're not going to be a spurg and you're not going to like, they know there is a reliability factor that has an economic value in the sense that you're not wasting someone else's time. Because let's say you're trying to like meet new people and you're trying to spend time with other people. And it's like, in a lot of cases, you're just going to different places as opposed to, hey, this is a person who has a proven track record of being the kind of person that you want to hang out with. You will not be wasting your time interacting with them and playing games with them and getting to know them, as opposed to let's go in a little bit into like the dating world where you have to invest time to get to know someone to decide whether they're worth spending more time with. But that is the risk is that you're wasting your time. And so in this case, people know who you are, and you've also worked hard and you've put time in your life to become that kind of person. That it's not I'm not looking at it like in a mercenary way, but it's like, yes, you're almost, there is a value to that, and there's demand for it, but also your time and energy is limited, so you have to, I guess that's one of the reasons why we're capping it at a certain amount, and we're also doing it by invitation only and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of different things that we're really hoping to address that are either there's a deficit of it or it's just an issue. And one of them is a lot of things are used to be in real life and they're now online.
Yeah. And that's one of the main things with the convention. And like that's what I say we talk about here on the webpage. And a lot of you may say, well, hey, why don't you have a website for this? Well, that's speaking to what TJ is talking about, the real life on analog aspect, tactile aspect of this, traveling somewhere to go have a shared experience with doing Dungeons and Dragons, and then afterwards having dinner and good conversation and camaraderie. Those kind of experiences, you're not going to get. We can't replicate. We do our best to replicate like we're doing here, and it has its place, but it's not enough. And TJ was just talking about that. So the convention is we come together once a year for a weekend. The convention itself will take place over the course of anywhere between 8 to 10 hours on a Saturday. There'll be more detail as it progresses, but as far as a website's concerned, it's not needed. We have all the information on masculinegeek.life. It's all on this page. Now, your membership to this is very similar to the old RPGA, the Role Playing Game Association. That was my inspiration for this, as far as like the perks that you would get in addition to the cost of the membership, encompassing your ticket. That would be free. You pay for the year, you get to go to the convention for free. Obviously, your travel is up to you, but your attendance is free. Membership only. You get a membership card. You get a subscription certificate. Yes, it's suitable for framing. These things kind of harken back to those early days when we were younger and we were part of that. If you were part of the Role Playing Game Association or part of men's clubs, they had these things. One thing I'm excited about is the quarterly ATGS newszine, which is also inspired by the RPGA's Polyhedron magazine. And that was something that it's physical. It was a magazine that was mailed to you, and you could read it cover to cover. There'll be articles in there, anecdotes, short stories, anything game related, anything nerd related will be in there. And that'll be anywhere between 16 to 36, 46 pages. That will come out every quarter, and that will be mailed to you. You'll get that in the mail. Also, I want to make sure, as far as like instant information, and if we need to get in touch with you, we're coordinating events for the actual convention or things therein. We'll have a Telegram chat or something similar. And we'll also be on a private email list. No spam. It's just for updates and whatnot. Now, these events are completely private. And no, we're not announcing it. It'll be the location will be announced to members. Obviously, members will know all the details, but there's no photos. If there are going to be photos, it'll go in the newsletter and be for members only. So
Right.
this is an exclusive club. This is something that is, for lack of a better word, it's higher end.
Yeah.
So.
It's what it is also is that it's making it private and actually meaningful, as opposed to this and nothing wrong with sharing stuff online on some stuff, but other things, it's like what's been lost is this sense of intimacy, where if everyone in the world can see it, it's not like, that's kind of the whole, you're losing that.
Chest is right, because fuck you, that's why.
Right. As opposed to saying, oh yeah, we're a gamer society. No, we don't post our events online. You don't get to see it unless you're actually a member, and we don't do stuff online, and we're not really interested in getting it. Like, we're not really interested in getting people's attention. We're interested in finding people that share. When I say values, people think about like moral values. I'm thinking more of like, just, are you an interesting person to hang out with? And are you the kind of person I'm going to meet at a cigar lounge, where we can have a good conversation, we can enjoy each other's company, and we can have good times.
Exactly.
And potentially also just, you get to know people, then maybe you like, it's a good way to meet quality people.
Well, it's exactly. In essence, it's a very good network. I know the word gets tossed around, but it's still good to use. A good networking tool. Men need to have networks for accountability, to check up on each other, to say, look, I heard this so and so in your state in this news. Is this true? Like member checks that Doc Pruden was talking about. Yeah. It's good to have these things in place. Now, the convention itself. We'll have one, it'll start off, I'm not sure where we're having the first one yet. I'm still kicking the idea around, and it'll either be in end of July or the first week in October. Haven't decided yet. So,
and some of the locations, which we won't say today, that have been tossed about and looked into, are pretty cool. That exactly. I will say.
Yeah. There'll be maybe a convention hall. It could be a private area in a restaurant, depending upon the initial membership size. It could be I rent out the upstairs of a pub. I have one in mind. There's a cigar lounge that I could rent out, in essence, their event room. Perfect. Drinks, food. Well, as far as the food and light beverages at the convention, that we're covering that cost. Anything other subsistence, either before or after, and major food during, that's up to you, of course, as would be the case whenever you're traveling or attending a convention. And every year it will be in a different state. And what that does is, and I mentioned this on the website, and I'll read that out to you. Where do I have it? I think it's in the beginning. Yes. So, in the spirit of Doc Savage, the pulp adventure hero, and his 5 friends, most of all, the yearning for adventure, the longing for life of thrills and excitement, which burned within the heart of each of them, would get its fill in their future experiences together. The ATGS is adventure. Okay? And we crave adventure. It's in our blood. And being a part of the ATGS is going to be an opportunity for adventure and the opportunity to make friendships, sometimes lifelong friendships and camaraderie. These things are important to men, and I think that's forgotten over the years. It's definitely forgotten in the media, and it's looked down on in a lot of other circles. So this is where we can revive that, and I've been looking forward to doing this for quite some time. So,
and where TJ was talking about morals and trying to find a better word, perhaps civility might be a better word, because we don't necessarily all have to be of like mind or in agreement about politics or whatever, but we know how to have a civil discourse and how to behave ourselves as men within a certain code of camaraderie and fellowship. You know, what happens on our weekends, whether it's in the early part of the year or the latter, is between us. It's, you know, it's between us gentlemen, and not for public consumption. And in reference, this is a little bit different, but, you know, suitable for framing things, going back to becoming a member of like G.I. Joe and the Steel Brigade. And,
I remember that. Yeah.
And so, but anyway, but I mean, this is the similar kind of tactile thing where, you know, when you're a kid and you got this in the mail with your little personalized action figure, and, you know, and you had your own file card as a
yes,
member
everyone
of
who
G.I.
joins
Joes
gets an action figure of Aaron Clary. Not really. No.
To do with as you will. So looking forward to those photos.
Right.
But I mean, you know, that's the kind of thing that you know, you have in between the times that we have our gathering. So
real quick, Robert, we'll come back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Geeky has a question. I don't have enough D&D under my belt to play competitively. Is that a concern? No, because we're going to make that very easy. The tournaments that took place were timed.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly each game was about, it depended upon the game, 3 to 5 hours. Okay, so let's say we start this off and we have 12 subscribers, 12 members. That's actually pretty good for a start, and I'd be happy with that for a start. So we got 12 members. We would break that down into 2 tables of 6. So you have 6 on one side and 6 on the other. I mean, you could still talk to one another, but you're not going to overwhelm each other if each table is talking separately. Each table would have a dungeon master. We'd be running the same tournament playing adventure called, you know, the module. Now what happens there is the idea is to finish, but if you don't, that's still fine. You score points by certain actions. Obviously, you score more points if you complete and get to the end and kill the boss, as it were, or complete the mission. Mm-hmm. If you do cast a spell a certain way, or don't cast a spell, if you negotiate or don't negotiate, if you kill this, solve this puzzle, whatever, you get points. You get points as a group, and you get points as an individual, experience points. At the end, when the clock is struck and the whistle is blown, you put down your pencils and release your Scantron sheets. When you're done, we tally up all the points, and the winner gets the prize. And there will be a physical prize, which is pretty cool. I already have ideas for that. So that's tournament play. It's fun. It's competitive. And we as men, adventure-wise, we're competitive. Mm-hmm. It's in our fucking blood. And this is a way to satisfy that in a way. So it's kind of cool. But that's convention play. And you don't have to create a character. There'll be pre-gens, which you'll pick from. There'll be a variety of pre-gens. So you don't have to. The only thing you would have to pack, other than your clothing and whatnot, depending upon the weather, is pen, dice, and paper. That's it. That's all you need. And we'll as far as rule books are concerned, we'll have those there for you. If this gets larger and we get closer to the 7,500 max, we may have different games and different tournaments running in the same hall. So there may be two D&D tournaments, and maybe, as TJ was saying, a Call of Cthulhu game. Geeky, that's it. I'm glad you're asking me these questions. You're jarring my memory. Are these going to be pre-designed modules by Gygax or custom modules made by the DM? I tossed the idea around of both. I may, depending upon the members, we can decide like, hey, most of us decide, would you guys mind running us through something that your DMs have created? Or you may say, look, run us through a pre-gen. That'd be kind of cool to relive that. So we'll see. What is this? All right, TJ's taking a powder.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm here. Cool. TJ's back.
So I think Robert and Drew are actually working on a module. Am I mistaken, Robert?
We have talked about it and have some ideas that we've tossed around before we go too far with it, which it's still in the very primary stages. So depending on when the first convention will be, it'll be dependent. But we would like to do something that would be, if not MG branded, ATGS branded for the group. So and some of it may even look kind of familiar based on some of the stuff we've been doing as a group anyway. But that's stuff Drew and I were started working on, but we've still got a lot more work to do, especially before we run it by you to get you to sign off on it. And but no, it was something we wanted to do, and it's something Drew actually spearheaded and
Okay.
And talked to me about it after one of our gaming sessions. So,
All right.
and obviously I'm going to do whatever I can to help make that happen, since I've got a little bit of experience with it.
Yeah, you do. Which is great. And chances are, Drew and Robert would be our starting dungeon masters, and maybe even Raul Tomasi if he wants to come out for this too.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, the conventions will always be on a Saturday. They will run probably late morning into early evening, or maybe around 12. Because I'm a late fucking riser, I can't fucking getting up early in the morning. It's just like, no, I'm not doing it. We'll see, but it'll be most of the day into the evening because I like gaming in the evenings, and then dinners and drinks and whatnot afterwards. But so Saturday, whether that's in July or October, be on Saturday. My thing is we fly in Thursday or Friday and then fly out on Sunday. So we have a whole 4 days to hang out with everybody, do some fun stuff beforehand. You got the convention on Saturday, and then we get up, late morning or whatever have you on Sunday and fly the fuck out. So it'll probably be a 3 or 4 day adventure once a year. I think that's pretty solid and something to look forward to. And like I said, it'll be in a different location, in a different venue, in a different state. So every year you can look forward to traveling to another state. Okay. If you've never thought about doing that before, you join up and you can do that. And it's the location and the venue's already decided for you. You just show up. So it's kind of cool to have that. So each year, as soon as one convention's done, we'll start scouting locations for the next one. That's how you do it. So, yeah. I'm trying to think what else we talked about. As far invitation only. So anyone in the chat now, anyone who's listening to this, we know of you. You can reach out to me and say, "Hey, Vince, TJ, Robert, you know me. I'm so and so. I would like to join." Now,
unless you're Aaron, I'm just like,
unless you're Aaron Clary, then we just we have he's Aaron. Actually, Aaron, we talked about this with Aaron on another show, and he's volunteered, I think, to be security. Yeah, so if you don't want to, you want to get your ass kicked by Aaron Clary, or maybe you want to, you could just say you got thrown out of an ATGS convention and got your ass kicked by Aaron Clary. So it's like, but all you got was a lousy T-shirt. My apologies, Vincent. Are you referring to the modules? They're probably going to be. I thought about Gygax modules because that's kind of cool. We started with those. It'd be kind of cool to just reminisce and just have this like walk down amnesia lane. But as we talked about with Robert and Drew, are working on something. Will probably be an MG ATGS branded custom module designed in house. So. But that may change. Like maybe the next year we'll have all prepackaged modules that we all know and love, and you may say, "Hey, Vince," because the members that are basically allowed to join will have more of a say in what goes on. We may have voting polls. We'll say, "Hey, we're thinking of this, this, and this. What's your feedback? We're thinking of this location and this state." Or this event in this state, what do you vote on? And then we'll go ahead and do that. So it'll be very very interactive as far as membership interest. Now the cost, that's the most important thing. Growth indeed, growth does dictate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you're not a member of Masculine Geek Life, it will cost you $299.99 per year, essentially $300 per year. That's going to cover our overhead, the event rental, the newsletter printing and shipping, etc. You cover your travel and hotel expenses if needed. For instance, the convention and such is on Saturday, and we'll arrive on Friday and leave on Sunday, as I just mentioned. An adventurous weekend. And I will say this, the first drink is always on us. So if you're a Masculine Geek Life member, you only pay $199.99 per year. So those invitations and that sign-up link will go out to Masculine Geek Life members probably as soon as I jump off this broadcast. And then I will send out invites to our newsletter. Now, if you're on the newsletter and you get this invite, and we've never seen your face. All right, well, you may say, I'm not joining, you're not going to respond, but maybe you do respond. And you say, Vince, appreciate that. I want to join. Everclear. Maybe some homegrowns. Maybe Chest Rockwell comes out and brings out some Butthurt Hefeweizen or something specifically geared towards nerds and the American Tabletop Gamer Society. That'd be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So if I don't know you, TJ and Robert and I do not know you, and you reach out to us because I sent out the invitations via the newsletter, we will have one of these, what we're doing now, we'll have a private one, and we'll invite you. And what does that mean? We hear your voice, we see your face, we talk to you, we make sure you're not a spurg. No anonymous bullshit, none of that. You're not hiding behind an avatar. You're a grown-ass man. You want to join a men's club and a D&D convention, this is what you do. It's easy. Most men will not have a problem with that. If you do, we don't want you. That's pretty much the garbage taking itself out.
Mm-hmm.
So that handles itself. What's with these fucking Russian bots in the chat? Somebody who's a mod, take care of that, please. Jesus Christ. Where's Bacon and Bull Rush when you need them?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right, they're really good for that. Bacon, you say something even remotely sideways, and Bacon will ban you forever.
Yeah, Bacon doesn't play around.
Forever. He doesn't care. He doesn't play around. You fuck around, I'm gonna. Thanks, Mictibus. I appreciate it. I had forgotten you were here. You weren't talking too much. So, but,
and going back to the price, just keep in mind for a big convention like Gen Con, for the 4 days, base price is $125 for that 4 days. What do you get for that $125? You get to come there for 4 days and shop for 4 days, and maybe you can demo a game for free if you can get in. But if you actually want to sit and play at something, well, you need to buy additional tickets.
Yep.
And depending on the event, it could cost 1 ticket, it could cost 10 tickets, it could cost 5 tickets.
Yeah, nickel and dime you.
Yeah, and these generic tickets, and they're at least a couple bucks a piece. So, it can add up really, really quick. So
yeah, Robert and TJ and I are not getting rich off of this.
No.
We may have a couple bucks thrown back to us for a small, very, very, very small salary for our work put in.
We might get a dinner out of it.
Exactly.
Guys, don't tell Vince I'm making a fortune off.
Yeah, we might get a dinner, maybe a drink, but yeah. So, but yeah, keep that in mind, because the money is not only going to go to pay for the venue, but also other things like
the newsletter, your membership card, your certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it's going to finance my new house. It's going to pay for my
it's going to finance TJ's new tent.
Yeah, which is going to be right by Swamp Cappy. Right.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, Aaron talks about a swamp in his backyard. I've seen a picture of it. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's probably the most interesting thing that you can see, but
it probably, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, so you're already paying for your convention, and you're paying for other things as well. So, like I said, when you start looking at how much a convention membership cost and what you get from that membership, it kind of gives you a little bit more perspective on where things have been priced and why.
Mm-hmm.
So And,
Well,
and
I also look
obviously
at it
those
this
guys
way.
make a heck of a lot more money, for Dragon Con and Gen Con. I mean, those are,
yeah.
and that's,
this is for love of the game, actually. I mean, it comes down to it, and the camaraderie and making new friends and doing something new and having something to look forward to and adventure. And not for nothing, I want to see. I've seen a lot of the states and been to a lot of venues, but I want to see the rest of them. I want to game and meet up with people in real time and see new states. So, and I'm sorry, if you're going to complain about $300 a year, I don't want to know you, actually. I get it. There are circumstances in which case shit comes up. I get that, but you guys are grown ass men. If you cannot afford $300 for everything that you would be getting in this, you have bigger problems.
Think about it this way also. How much money do you spend trying to get the same experience that you're
Online.
guaranteed to get from this? Meaning, let's say you're like, I'm joining all these clubs in town, or clubs by like social clubs, not club like nightclub. Or I'm trying to join all these organizations. I'm trying to do all this stuff. I'm spending all this time and all this money trying to make friends and trying to, meet up with people. Well, great. Here's a fixed amount with a guarantee. Like that. So you're saving money in that sense. You're paying a lot. You're paying a certain amount up front, but think about how much you spend. I mean, $300 is yeah. If you don't have, I'll let Vince.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You're correct. I mean, the things you try to do.
Well, it's like it reminds me of what one online podcaster said. Is he was complaining about people who were like cyber begging, where they're like, "Oh, give us money so we can continue to operate the site." He's like, "Dude, operating a website annually is like like $100 and something dollars. If you can't afford that much money, get off the internet."
Yeah, well, it depends, and I get what they're saying. I'll use Masking Geek Life for instance. Like, yeah, there's a basic cost for the website, but
Are we being invaded by the Russians?
Like, we are. We're being seduced by them, but there's also the farm and the membership stuff. That there's a yearly fee for that for updates and support, SoundCloud, all kinds of stuff that go into the background of it. Even Masking Geek Life, almost half of any membership that we get from that goes back into overhead costs. So everything there's a payment to everything. So it's but a basic site where there's no interaction, there's no forms or memberships. It's just a straight up informational website. Basic dynamics behind it. Yeah, you're gonna pay like maybe $200 a year. You can't afford that, then go home. So I think have we covered everything?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking of like the cool thing also is that it's an opportunity. Let's say you're a guy who you're really into a certain game and you want to play it with other people, and you just are able to find other people who either have the interest or have the basic skill set with that game.
Yeah.
One of my kind of frustrations is I've been wanting to play. It's a spaghetti Western card game called Bang, and I really enjoy playing it, but just trying to get enough people who have the interest and also have like the basic skills in a room together is really difficult. But
got to sacrifice my OnlyFans subscription to fund this.
Right? Yeah,
you should totally sacrifice that OnlyFans. Fuck
yeah,
that.
Cappy doesn't need the money anyway, so
seriously, you don't need to see his naked ass.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch him nap for 4 hours.
Yeah.
No naps and faps with a cap.
But that's I think that's another opportunity is for, let's say you have a game that you don't know a lot of people who know how to play it. Well, this is an opportunity to say, hey guys, are you interested? We're doing a gaming convention or something like that. And then maybe we're hanging out afterwards, or people hanging out. It's like, hey, you interested in playing this game or learning how, and we can do that, and we can smoke.
Yeah, setting up that exact card game that you're talking about in like the cigar bar or the lounge or whatever, and just playing like impromptu right there.
Yeah, just because this tournament is scheduled for a certain time doesn't mean that on after hours that if you want to play Crimson Skies or Axis and Allies, South Pacific, or who knows, maybe I'll bring Star Frontiers or something like that.
Dude, if you that'd be fucking great to like even during the convention after the tournament's done, you run a Star Frontiers game impromptu, be awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, this there's definitely opportunities to play other things as well as hanging out and having a drink and smoking a cigar and hanging out with friends or close acquaintances and because the internet is a great tool, but I think far too many people use it as a crutch. And you need to get rid of the crutch, and the tool is getting acquainted with us and getting signed up and then take that next step and actually get together and share a meal and share a drink, because there's a lot of truth in vino veritas. There, when you're sitting at a table breaking bread and sharing wine with someone, you see the truth of them that can sometimes be hidden behind all this fakakta machinery,
all way behind the keyboard.
Yeah.
Geeky, you've got, chances are the convention is going to go off in October just for the timing of it, because I have a shit ton of stuff going down in July and August. I had originally wanted it to be in August, but then I have a HP Lovecraft convention I may be attending in August. I don't want to crowd everything too much shit going on, so space it all out probably in October, because it won't be that cold. Even in various states, it won't be that cold. It'll be a little cooler. It won't sweat our balls off, and it'll be after traditional mainstream conventions. So you'll have something to look forward to in October.
And who knows, we may be meeting in somewhere warm. It could be in Texas, it could be in Vegas. Who knows?
Fucking Alex. No, that's right. It could be a different state. Like I say, it's going to be in a different state every year. Different venues will change. It could be a hall. Now, also, if we do get up into the 7,500 range and we cap out there, I believe most hotels will offer you the convention discount at that point. So we may wind up renting one of the small rooms in a hotel in a major city. So that's always a possibility. So, and that'll be easy. You just, you get drunk or whatever, you go back up to your room. I will do my best to make sure that the venues are close to the hotels, so you can Uber back in case we're drinking. In fact, we will. Most likely the light refreshment at the convention will probably be some alcohol there, and obviously afterwards. TJ's like some.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Right, but it is private. It's behind closed doors, and we can do whatever the fuck we want. So that's the way it works. Hey, I have no problem scheduling a convention one year in Vegas. The first one will not be in Vegas. I already have an idea where I want it to be. It's going to be rather expensive, but I'm fine with that because of where it's at and what it means to the D&D community. So that's all the hint I'm giving. But
those of us that know, it's very cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. And that's why God created these.
The fuck is that?
My flask.
Oh, your flask. There you go. Yo, it's funny you're talking about flask. I saw a company, and I know they've been out there, but it was reacquainted to me through this one advertisement on Instagram. They're flasks, flask size, but they're encased. They have a leather slip case, but the flask itself is glass.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And there's the cutout in the leather, so you can see how much you have in the. I'm like, wow, that's fucking badass.
But yeah,
first we'll be at Drew's house.
But yeah,
we can work out after we're done.
Yeah, bring your flask and your pocket watch, and your smoking jacket, and you'll be all set to go.
Exactly. I'm gonna make those great again. All right, I'm already doing it with the pocket watch. I also want to bring back the walking cane, or in this case, the sword cane. So I'm getting one of those. Yep.
No, it's
That's
cool.
right.
Speaking of the sword cane, I was interviewing this kid years ago when I was a reporter in the part of my state, and he goes, "Do you want to see something cool?" I'm like, "Sure." So he pulls out this like very intricately carved wooden cane, walking cane, and then he pulled a sword came out of it, like the one from Sherlock Holmes with Watson.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
And his dad was a missionary in India and had gotten it. Like one of the locals had given it to him. Like, dude, kid, you gotta use that somehow. Like, I'm not saying the
Right.
sword, but you kind of like, that's your thing. Like, you're walking around, someone's giving you crap, and you just pull that sword out and be like, "I'm sorry, did you say what?"
Mhm.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. If you
Yeah.
don't, you gotta know
No,
how to
I
use it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm ordering a sword cane this week actually. So, yep, I'm doing it. So I'll be walking around. I'm not going to walk around outside with a smoking jacket. I've ordered one of those
I need one.
sociopathlete. Sociopathlete. That's like a tongue
Sociopathlete, I
twister.
believe.
Sociopathlete, whatever the fuck his name. He knows who he is. He now plays D&D with us. He has one. He inspired me to get one. I've been thinking about it for a while. So I will indeed post pictures, Alex. I will post pictures when I get the both the sword cane and the smoking jacket. That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah,
that's right. But yeah, and also handkerchiefs. Bringing those back as well. But I've been doing my best with the pocket watch. So we'll see what happens. TJ needs to get one. I've been telling him and telling him and telling him. I'm gonna have to buy it as a birthday gift for him. This fucking slacker.
I think I've got 3 or 4 pocket watches. One of which is like an has Eisenhower on it. It's
You should start. Why are you not wearing it? You're disappointing me, Robert. You're disappointing me.
Well, I'm at home. I don't need it, so that it's
I don't
off.
care.
But no, I have 4. So yeah, if I carry a watch,
when you come out to when we have our first ATGS convention, we'll be wearing our pocket watches. In fact, maybe that's a gift. Maybe that's an engraved, specially made ATGS pocket watch. That if your gaming table wins in the tournament, then all 6 of you or 5 of you get a pocket watch,
or 4 of you, depending on how the groups have to be divided up. But yeah,
exactly.
So who knows? And some of that might be help decided by how many people are in the organization and what the members want to do. And
exactly.
So it's not, you're going to have some input. It's going to be our society, our group, and the membership is going to affect how it grows.
Correct.
But the big thing is, it is definitely not going to be the social media representation you see from Gen Con and Wizards of the Coast. So
yeah, seriously,
that's not what it's going to be. And in fact, you're not going to see stuff like that online anyway. If you want to know what happens at the convention, well, you need to be a member and be at the convention, or at least be a member.
And that's
so
what
that
the
you can hear
newsletter's
about
for.
it from members.
Yep, the newsletter and the email list. That'll be the connection you'll have. Now, as far as like the instant connection, the Telegram or something similar will be in order, just so we especially on the day of the convention, we can coordinate things. Someone says, "Hey, I'm running late," or this or that. You just use that app, and it's easy that way. That's a tool that you use. But as far as like the zeitgeist, the gestalt of ATGS is going to be offline. It's going to be live and in person. And TJ put it very, very, very well. It's when he was talking about these things need to be taken seriously and done face to face. So, I think the spring popped. That sounds personal. All right. So, any other questions in the chat regarding to how to join?
How to be as awesome as us. I mean, we
How to
can.
be as awesome? No, well, that's impossible. You can imitate us, and we
You gotta charge
hardly.
them at least $20 to say, yeah, it's not possible. But
All right. It's you can try to be as cool as us. We definitely advise you to take things that we say into heart because they work. We've been there. God damn it. We've been in the trenches. We're in the trenches.
we're in the trenches, see.
There's the trenches, see? So sounds like it's going to be pure awesomeness. I am really excited about this. This is going to be fun. Nictobus, keep an eye out on the masculinegeek.life email. I'm going to send out the invites or the sign-ups for you guys, the discount sign-up for you guys for that. On the main email list, if you're on that. If you're not, get on that now. If you don't know how to do that, just hop onto the main Twitter, and in the bio, there's the newsletter sign up for there. I'll be sending out the invites there. However, if we've like I said, if we never interacted with you, we've never seen your face or talked to you, we have to do that before you join. All right. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I want to make sure you're not a spurg. I want to make sure there's some sort of social grace about you, or a pending social grace about you, that you have your shit together, that you know how to talk and interact. Most of you do. I have hopes. I'm not totally jaded like Aaron, but we still need to have an interview with you, and it'll take maybe 10-15 minutes. So we did that for Masculine Geek Life members, and then wound up actually having good talks with people, and wound up talking for a couple hours. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if this was all about money, then there would be no gatekeeping. There would be, everybody who has a checkbook send us some money.
And that's exactly.
That's not Vince doesn't want the money. TJ doesn't want the money. I don't want the money. It's not about that.
I totally want. If you want to give me money, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, TJ's private donation fund. That's a whole
exactly. Like I said, there'll be a small fund for our time. It's not going to make us rich whatsoever. Like, and as Robert said, if we wanted to extort money from you or for the public, it would just be wide open.
Yeah,
this is a legitimate men's club. This harkens back to the old days, at least in spirit.
Yeah.
We can't hang out every month. That'd be kind of cool if we could. The funds and the time isn't there. We're all serious men. We all have, for the most part, full-time jobs. That's our main moneymaker. This is icing on the cake, as it were. This is really for the networking, the camaraderie, and the gaming. I've mentioned it before in various podcasts and talks, and even in the newsletter. My formative years was centered around Dungeons and Dragons and playing with my friends. That was what we did on Friday nights. That's right, ladies. Friday night D&D gaming. Yeah. So
sometimes
every week,
Friday night, Saturday night D&D gaming, and Wednesday after school phone call D&D gaming, and
right. Yeah. Remember the old play-by-mail games?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. Well,
some people,
and for those of us who actually played D&D in one-to-one time, just because you weren't in the adventure doesn't mean you weren't trying to build a castle, acquire wealth,
in the background,
train, whatever, in the background. Jethro's absolutely right about that, and that's one of the great things about first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons is it's literally a game that you can play all the time, even when you're not with your friends playing the game. You can still be playing the game or doing something in the game.
Exactly. And we'll have, if not the originals and the PDF versions of the handbook during the convention for reference. We'll have all the necessary crap. So it's going to be good. All right. Any other questions? We're coming up on the hour mark, and we wanted to keep this at about an hour.
Yeah.
So any other questions? We'll leave it open for a few minutes. We'll end officially at what is it now? It is 9:52. We're going to end at 10 o'clock. So we've got about 8 minutes.
While we're waiting for questions, anyone else enjoying the old school versus bro school feud on Twitter?
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Well,
That's full on?
that one retard with the homebrew 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my brother.
Oh,
he's
really?
He's the one that doxed my buddy Gabe and said where he
Oh,
was
okay.
located and everything in the Twitter feed. Yeah, so if
Mhm.
you're watching, fuck you. Which is funny because his name is Christopher, and
Mhm.
he goes on his business site, and he did a podcast with somebody. He goes by Christopher Stevens.
Mm.
It's amazing to me because his business is he does ancestry, like genealogy bullshit.
Gotcha.
But half of his business website is trolling,
Mm.
and he was making disparaging remarks about Rollo and a few other people. So I'm thinking to myself, this is your business, and
Mhm.
this is what you're showing your customers. So this latest account that he has is just
Mhm.
another one in a series of egg accounts that he uses. Whenever I post anything about women or
Mhm.
something cool about Masculine Geek, I can
Mhm.
always know there's going to be a new egg account dropping into a Twitter thread
Mhm.
talking shit about me and
Mhm.
everybody else because he's a jealous, envious, legitimately mentally ill fuckwad. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. I hope he's listening.
Yeah. I was talking more about some of the different people arguing with Jethro and
Well, he was the one arguing with
stuff.
Jethro.
Oh, really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it's go check out some of the recent stuff. He's a fucking maniac, fucking dick.
But
He's
yeah,
he's essentially. I could go into like armchair psychology and I can go into our background, but I'm not going to do that because I'd rather have him here to defend himself because I would still like him to be here to defend himself. I will say this: he married a fat woman,
Mhm.
never lived on his own,
Mhm.
and hates his life. So there you go. When I mean fat, I'm talking fat. So there you go. Fat.
That's a good plan, Geeky.
Right?
I
I
mainly
would stay
use
off of it, yeah.
I mainly use Twitter to talk to fellow nerds and geeks in Japan and post pictures of Imperial Japanese model kits and toys and occasional music stuff, concerts and so forth.
I do it for the redheads.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, Benna and jealousy is good. No, his is like his is a mental ill. I hate to use the word toxic because it's overused, but in this case, it's completely relevant and to the point. It's toxic. Why did you marry a fat woman, Tempest? Maybe, or unless you're into that, then that's perfectly fine.
Thank you, Mictobus.
Yeah,
In
right.
fact,
They're kind of cool.
I got a couple of new Transformers here recently. So
You show them? You have them nearby?
Unfortunately, I don't. I was just looking around and
A little bit geek until.
Yeah, so. But I'll probably be posting pictures of I actually have several boxes of stuff that have come from Japan that I've got to get pictures of and get into inventory, and I'll be sharing them on Twitter. Some of them are stuff for a client, and then the rest is like stuff for me. But yeah, I've always got something coming in.
Cool. I like it. So, that was good stuff. All right. So, any more questions about ATGS in the chat, other than fat women, and probably the best thing is not to marry them, unless you're into that thing. That's fine. As being disparaging marrying a fat woman, I kind of figured. We know you a bit better than that.
You know, if it's 1930 and she's some Italian woman and she cooks like nobody's business, it's like, okay, that's one thing. But you know, but then again, what was considered a little
Plump.
overweight back plump back then. I like, you know, there's a difference between a woman who looks like she's pregnant and a woman who could star in Moby Dick as the whale.
There she blows. Yeah, no, it's true. It's there's I don't want to continue to speak disparagingly, but he's not here to defend himself. I wish he would come on, because then I could tear him down publicly. Tall women, yeah, tall. I've been out with a few tall women and have interactions with a few tall women. I was probably my most famous one was when I was in college in Rutgers with a Clairol model.
Oh, cool.
She was 6'2", and I'm only 5'10".
Wow.
That was interesting. Yeah, that was on and off for about a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never. Well, maybe once I've dated, like, gone on dates with girls who were about my height or a little bit taller, but like, yeah, that's an experience I have yet to have.
Yeah. The problem is when it comes to my women, I'm dominant,
Mm-hmm.
and in things that I do, that's how I comport myself.
Really? You're dominant?
I know, right? Go figure. The women that are smaller than me and have a slimmer figure, I can toss them around the bedroom the way they want. That's just the way it is. Like a 6'2", like very Clairol model, but 6'2". I mean, like I said, I'm 5'10". I'm not tossing her around the way I want to around the
She's
bedroom.
tossing you around.
She's tossing me around the fucking bedroom. That's a different dynamic that doesn't quite set well with me, and I'm aware of that, and I'm fine with that. But we still had an interesting dynamic, and we had fun together. That was the main thing. I didn't fucking care.
So are you and Rob about the same height?
Rob is 5'5".
5'5". Okay.
I'm 5'10".
Aaron Clary is not 5'9", just for the record.
He's not. How tall is he? Like 5'2", isn't he?
Yeah.
What was that comment you said? He's taller than he.
He's taller than he should be.
That was funny.
Yeah. I have my moments, don't I?
No, you do. You get some good ones.
I feel like I'm Aaron's like little brother who's just constantly just poking him.
Right.
Exactly. Just constantly reminding him, hey, not everyone out there is telling you you're the most, whatever.
Exactly. Oh, and Saturday the 19th at 2 p.m. and running for about 4 hours from Eastern time, 2 p.m. Eastern to about 6 p.m. Eastern, give or take half hour or so. We, as in us here, plus Rollo and Amos and Drew, we're going to be in a one-shot AD&D game run by Jeffro Johnson, the author of Appendix N. And he's having the Twitter. It's what we're talking about, the Twitter feuds on about AD&D, old school AD&D and current WotC AD&D 5e. What it comes down to is I don't fucking give a shit what you want to play in the privacy of your own home. But if you're going to go out and start commercially saying this is this and this is that, or coming back to us old school grognards and telling us that what we played was wrong, I say fuck you. We were there first. All right. I'm not saying that it means that I was there 5,000 years ago, asshole. Robert and I played AD&D. The rules that's why I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that Gygax and others in that time period made a mistake of saying it's the guideline. The rules are just guidelines, and the thing is we want you to have fun. Okay, all right. Having said that, it's being twisted from guidelines and the rules to D&D is what we say it is. Gygax and Arnis and the rest of them never said D&D is what you say it is. Here's D&D. Here are the rules. You wouldn't do that with chess, would you? Would you like, oh, chess is what we say it is? No, dickhead. It's chess. It's AD&D. So fuck off. God damn it.
Yeah, everybody quotes
they quotes or
wrong. Misquotes the thing about it, being guidelines or whatever. But they never quote him talking, I think, in an issue of Dragon and addressing the fact that if you incorporate house rules into AD&D, you are no longer playing AD&D.
Yeah, it's AD&D with house rules, dickweeds.
Yeah, it's
but
literally.
There's nothing wrong with that, dickweeds. There's nothing
if that's
wrong
what
with
you want to do, but you're not playing the game.
Exactly. So let's see the background. Turn that off. All right.
Yeah, and the more I look at some of the later editions of the game, I mean, obviously 3 is a completely 3,
That's a
3.5, and
clusterfuck.
4 are all completely different games. I still stand by my assertion that 5th edition is the most D&D the game's been since 2nd.
I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah,
but none of them are set up like 1st edition was, that you literally were playing it all the time. It's like the game was always running in the background, even when you weren't playing with your friends on Friday night or Saturday night or whenever. The game was still going on. Your characters were still doing something. They were training somewhere.
Yeah, like with experience, there's a couple things. Like to your point, experience.
Yeah.
You had to go back. You had to leave the dungeon or whatever adventure you went on. You came back to civilization, and you paid for training to level up, and that might take weeks game time. That was incorporated into the game, as that took place in the background. Well, likewise, in the same, one of the main things that I have a problem with is the leveling scale. And I've mentioned this before. It's not meritocratic anymore. It's just equalism. Every class has the same rate of leveling, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. No. If you go back and you look in AD&D, and the book's right here to prove it, you see the level. The scale is different. Magic user to Paladin. I think Paladin, Ranger, and Monk were the worst as far as leveling up.
Yeah, as I remember right, they were pains in the ass to level. I mean, because not only did you have to get the experience, but you also had certain things you had to do. You had certain special quests you had to do, or sacrifices, or tithings to your church or to your god, or just all kinds of different things that you had to do. But I mean, it was so great because you had all this time where you were like securing an area of territory and making it your own and building.
You felt you were really involved with it, with that portion of the game world that your DM created.
Yeah, I mean, because you're sitting there in German class and you're sitting there thinking, it's like right now my character is writing his territory, and we'll have sometime a random encounter in the wilderness chart while we're riding the roads in our area, building our keep, and it's like, oh my god, I'm in German class, but my game is actually still going on. And it just, but none of the other editions are really set up for that, or the fact that no matter how powerful your primary character, if you are lucky enough that not only does your character live, but get to named level and becomes a lord or the grandfather of assassins, or whatever your class is, that you become a high muckety muck, you still have stuff to do because you govern things, and now you can like create new characters that work for your old characters or work for your friend's character. I've got a 1st level paladin who is a follower of the same god as Vince's cleric, and so I go on holy quests that Vince's cleric, who is like the Pope in this area, sends this character on, and it's like, how cool is that? So the game constantly goes on. There's no end. It's like this great book series that just goes on and on and on, or this great TV series that some episodes are better than others, but it runs for years, and it's designed that it can run for years. And I don't know many other games that come close to doing that.
No.
To what
my current tabletop gaming group, which we haven't gamed in a couple months, but getting back to that, we've been gaming for almost a decade now, a little less than that. But it's funny because I don't outline anything. I don't write anything down. I just riff off the players and what's happening in the moment. And as they're working things out, they'll be talking amongst themselves. I'm like, well, I think this is happening and we need to do this. I'm thinking to myself, well, in my head, I wasn't playing that, but that sounds good. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's go with that. So I'll use whatever the players are like, the deductions, whether they're correct or not, of what the outline in my head is. I'll use that as a springboard to push the players further, and they're creating the world as they go, and they don't know that, or maybe they do. It doesn't matter, but that's the fun of it because it's in the moment. And I improvise, All my
Right.
games are improvisation. And of course, when I'm making, I'll have to come up with a name or a name of a tavern or whatever, or a scroll. I have to make sure I write that down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fun of it. And that's how we learned to play Dungeons and Dragons back in the 70s.
Oh yeah. We had kingdoms and castles and towns named after historic places or places in anime or places in, whatever. We saw something cool on, and that was the other thing. You saw Hawk the Slayer and thought something was cool, and it's like, I want a mind sword. So
Right.
you and your friends get together, and it's like, well, it's got to be able to do this, and it's got to be able to do that, and you like create your own artifacts and magic items, and that's the level of connectivity and interactive play and improvisation. And that's the thing. Our generation lived for that kind of stuff, flying off the cuff. And, whereas now everything has to be, well, we've got this play date and, so-and-so is going to be
Everything's
there.
scheduled out the ass.
And it's, and it does lose something. It's like, hey, let's play D&D. And it's like, it didn't matter that you didn't have anything planned. It's like, you all knew how to play D&D and you had your dice and you had pencils. And it's like, let's sling some dice and kill some monsters and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it just seems like to be it's some kind of therapeutic narrative play they're running through.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's like,
it's not D&D. It's like, stop. It's completely not.
It's Dork and Dragons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dorks and Spurgs.
Yeah.
S&D.
S&D. Spurgs and Dorks.
And if you join ATGS, that's not what you're getting. You're getting what we did.
Exactly. You're getting old school 1978, 79 when we were, well, at least when I was introduced to it, and I came into it around that time in the early 80s. Old school tournament style advanced Dungeons and Dragons, at least to start. That's we're starting with that. Like I said, TJ was talking about other games to play. That'll come into play once we get the membership up and running.
Yeah, and who knows? We may end up in a smoking lounge that has Gary Rafferty on the jukebox. So away we go.
Exactly.
Be totally 1978.
Exactly.
But
so, I see there's someone new in the chat, Brother Wolf. I would say go back and watch this from the beginning and get all the info you need. And hello to you. So, any questions from the chat? Everyone's been quiet so far. I think the last, aside from Brother Wolf, the last comment was from Geeky about EVE Online. So, but to recap, TJ, you want to give a quick recap rundown?
Yeah, give us money. We got an offer.
No,
just kidding. No, basically, it's a tabletop gaming society that is going to be composed of emotionally mature men who are interested in just meeting people in real life and not spending their entire lives online. We're trying to kind of go back in time to when people hung out in person, because the internet has provided, as Robert was pointing out, a crutch. We need to use it as a tool. We meet people online, great. Take it offline. So
exactly.
And it doesn't have to be Dungeons and Dragons. It can be, at some point, I think that one thing that, my thought is not being too stringent with what it's going to look like, because we don't know necessarily. There are some things that could be, I'm not saying we don't do we're always going to do D&D, but like there may be something that as a group of men, it really works out, and it's not something we were expecting. So
correct.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll find out. You have to join to find out. Your most generous contribution.
It is, like I said, it's invitation only. You can inquire and say, hey, I know this is not strictly invitation, but I listened to you guys and I read the portion of the website on MaskingGeek.life, and how do I join? Well, obviously you have to pay to join, but we also have to know you or of you, or have basically an interview with you, see you face to face, no hiding behind avatars. Make sure you're not a spurg or a retard. Make sure you have social graces, and as TJ mentioned, you're a mature man, and you comport yourself thusly.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brother Wolf, yeah, D&D started out face to face, obviously, because there was no internet in the 60s and 70s. So, but in our case, we run twice a month. We run Dungeons and Dragons games live on Masco and Geek. One of the best live stream D&D groups on the internet, in my opinion, and several others, at least the people here. So make sure you sign up, like, subscribe, sign up for Masco and Geek on YouTube, and make sure you follow along. The exploits of Grot and the rest. Aldemar.
Who may be getting some Medusa action.
Jesus, I'm gonna fuck that to death. I don't. I blame Drew for this going sideways.
I am on the record of saying, if you open the door, there's the key. I'm going in the next room.
Yeah,
Blodgett had a very bad feeling about this.
I got a bad feeling about. Yeah. Grat will probably get his ass handed to him, and not in a good way, but he'll do his best.
And I love that Noble's going down the hole, or Duncan. Noble as Duncan's going down the hole.
Well, he did. Well, that at least he said that on Twitter. Who knows if he actually abandons us. Right? I do hate being right all the time. It's all the time. God damn it! It's so tiring being me. I'm not right all the time, but in this instance, and this one, shit. We've all had a bit of Medusa action in the past. That is correct. Well, I think the Medusa, because we're running a hybrid 5e 1e with Rollo, and I do know that Rollo wants to shift it to predominantly 1e after this adventure is done. This is the A1 through A4 series, the Slave Lord series. We completed the first one. This is the tail end of the second one. This is when Noble Brown joined us. He's coming in on the end of it. He's playing Duncan. But so we have to finish this, and then as we shift into the third, and these are all tournament modules too, and I think he's running them tournament style, so they're quicker, and there's less to go through as far as like the different rooms. There exactly,
which I've got taped up and can't look at because I promised Rollo I wouldn't do so.
Yes, do not look through the. What's the third one called? The Area of the Slave Lords, or is that the fourth one?
Yeah, it is.
Area of the Slave Lords. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so
which is also one I've got sealed up because I promised I wouldn't look at these.
I know. I've got
on my honor. So
right, I've got the originals plus the 5e ones, but I haven't looked at them. Like I can't do it. But I'll go back later and like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But we're going to be going into the third one, the Area of the Slave Lords, and that'll be moving into the 1e rules, which will be easy for TJ. He's not bouncing back and forth because with 5e, you roll the number or higher to get the ability check. The ability checks for AD&D is the number or lower. It's in reverse. So kind of annoying. So this way it'll simplify things, but bring it back.
More often than not, you just explain what it is you want to do, and if it seems reasonable that your thief with an 18 dexterity should be able to do that, that's fine. And if there's a problem, you do your saving throw. So
exactly. So. All right, so if you have an interest if you're not on the Masculine Geek email list and you're not in masculinegeek.life and you have an interest and you want to be invited as far as like a formal invitation and make yourself known, go to the Masculinegeek.life website and go to the contact page, and in the subject line, mention the ATGS, and in the body in the text area to write your details. Let me know who you are and what you want, when you're free to do an interview so we can all chat briefly. But I'll be sending out the other emails to Masculine Debt Life subscribers and the email list shortly. Any Robert, TJ, any final words?
No, just if you're interested in playing not just D&D, but just gaming in general and wanting to get together, like I said, you're not paying much more than you would for any kind of convention. So I mean, and so the fact that you're going to get other things above and beyond your membership to attend the convention, you know, it's when you factor that stuff in, it's a pretty good deal. And plus, like I said, you will have the opportunity to, you know, get together at least once a year. You know, who knows? A lot, like I said, a lot of it's going to depend on the size of the group, which we're going to keep purposefully small. But you know, it'd be cool to get in on the ground floor and say, yeah, I was one of the first members, or, you know, and to be at that first. If the first convention or gathering gets to be where Vince wants it to be, you're going to want to be there. I'll just leave it at that. And I'll leave it to TJ next to be brief.
Give me money. It's gonna just be funny. Hey guys, it's gonna be cool. I'm excited. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the greatest thing ever.
Enough said. That's exactly. All right, so we said our piece. We've previewed the society, as it were, the Gamer Society. If you think that's interesting, and you're not, like I said, you're not on the list, and you're not masculinegeek.life, shoot me an email via the contact page. And why is my internet crapping out?
Because it always does. Like,
well, I haven't. I'm seeing like a low bandwidth connection. Your connection is fairly good. My connection is unstable. What the fuck is piece of shit? Anyway, we're gonna sign off now since my connection is unstable. So, all right. If there's no further questions in the chat, we will say goodnight to you. Geeky, have a good night. Tempest, Brother Wolf, Mictibus, Chest, everyone in the chat, it's been a pleasure as always. Make sure I'm trying to get another guest lined up for this Wednesday, which may not happen. So we may just do another. I'm not sure whether we're playing or not, Drew's game, or we're going to run a fireside chat. Probably find out more information tomorrow. So with that, TJ, take us out.
All right, guys. As usual, you know the drill. Keep the wine flowing. Keep the lead shooting down range. Keep the fires burning. Don't take 81 nickels. Don't drink all the rum. And yeah, join our society.
Exactly. ATGS. And I'll have one footnote: do not marry any fat women.
Yeah.
Carry in, carry out your fat women.